VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Really fun 3-hour program lined up today with the likes of Adam Chernoff on the program, going over the NFL this week. Paul Stone, best bets in college football. J.R. Starkus is going to be a lot of fun. He'll get you set for the holiday season, how to impress people they have over watching the big game. And Derek Stevens, owner, CEO of this great property, a little bit later on in studio as well. Fun night tonight in sports, by the way, Paulie. Not only do we have the next edition of the college football rankings show tonight, which we're going to get to with updated odds. I want yes-no odds to make the playoffs. I only see yes right now, but we'll get into that coming up in a little bit. And a really fun night tonight in the NBA as well with the Cup. A lot of these games involved tonight. And doesn't get any bigger than the Cavaliers playing at the Celtics. And right now at DraftKings, they actually just bumped up Boston to a 6-point favorite in this game. So this has been slowly moving up throughout the day, and the total is touching 235.5. There's a 236 out there as well.
Yeah.
But this is great, right? You have an undefeated Cavaliers team going against the team that everybody thinks is probably still the best in the NBA.
Yep, it's your TNT game. I love the Cavs here. I've loved the Cavs since the first couple of weeks of the season. How long can they keep this going? Kudos to DraftKings for getting creative with all the props they have added on the Cavs, which we'll get to coming up. If they win tonight, it's certainly doable. Now, they get Boston at home next week. This thing could get over 20 games. And if they can win tonight and then turn around and beat Boston at home in a week, this could they could challenge the Golden State record. They're number one in offense. They're so efficient offensively. They've scored, 110 points in every game but one. Atkinson, now $1.05 to win Coach of the Year. It's been fun to watch, enjoyable, great. The steps and the leaps that Garland has taken and improved his game, Mobley as well. So this is a great game tonight. And then also what it means for the Cup, some futures, props we'll get to. I'm excited.
Okay, so with a win tonight, it means they would have the second longest winning streak ever to begin a season, behind the Warriors, who are 24-0. They are tied with a couple of other teams right now at 15-0. This is how impressive that Warriors run was 10 years ago. Mike Pritchard and I, who's a VSiN contributor, played the NFL for 10 years, won a national title at Colorado. We were covering the Army-Navy game. I think it was in Philadelphia. We were at Fogo de Chao downtown on a Friday night.
Oh, it's a good spot.
With, I think the group of people must have been in the 60s. There were 12 of us huddled around the table, and the dinner was unbelievable. 2 people had to break out their phones because the Warriors were in trouble against the Celtics on a Friday night. They came back to win the game, but we didn't even care about the Army-Navy contest. We lost the idea that we're even at this great restaurant having a great time with awesome food, drinks, whatever.
You turn the coaster over. Keep it coming.
Oh, yeah,
whatever.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Get that ribeye over here right now.
Yeah.
Everybody was watching the Warriors because we thought they had a chance to lose. And that's how fun that run was, and that's how fun this run could be for the Cavaliers. But I don't mean to be the wet blanket here on the show. I got some bad news for you. They're not winning the game tonight.
Oh, come on.
In fact, the Celtics, I think I'm going to play them on alternate numbers, like up to 8.5 and 9.5.
How you been? Why? You think this is when they show everyone, hey, we're still the champs? They haven't looked like it. You know, and you always go back to disrespecting your opponent.
Did they look like it night one against the Knicks?
They look great, yeah, but the Knicks have a ton of issues defensively, and I think this Cleveland team can outscore them tonight. It's number one against number two in offense.
It is.
I know you were surprised at the total.
So, it keeps going to 236 here. Yeah. So, now, here's the thing. Peyton Pritchard is questionable for tonight. I don't know if he's going to play or not. He's got the thumb. However, you have a bunch of guys who are either out or questionable for the Cavaliers. Strus is out with an ankle. Dean Wade is out with an ankle as well. Mm-hmm. Levert is questionable. Okoro is questionable as well. This, to me, is going to be a statement game for the Celtics. They have kind of screwed around since that Knicks game a little bit here, and they've lost 3 games on the year. But this is going to be, it's a cup game, first of all. They're at home. They won the championship last year. And I think that this team is going to be good this year, playing with a chip on their shoulder in certain spots. And tonight would be an exhibit A for me, where The Cavaliers have this, unblemished record, and they come in and the Celtics are like, come on. We won the title last year. We're the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Well, when healthy,
we killed them in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, it's a different team, though. Certainly with Atkinson, you might be right. But I am concerned by, losing that game against Atlanta and struggling with Brooklyn and beating them by 4 at home, and you had to go to overtime against Toronto, and Tatum had to bail you out with a 3 as well. That's why this is a great racket, though. That this is a great game, and I like the Cavs, and you're strong on Boston, and you might be right as well. But also, again, I'm looking further down the road here. If they win this game, how long could this thing go?
Well, here's also, I think this is why it's so big for both sides, right? First of all, let me point this out. The Celtics are on pace for 64 wins. That's an incredible season. Mm-hmm. Also, their current net rating is plus 10.2. Last year, it was plus 11.7. And that was one of the best plus net ratings in the history of the sport. Also, if you flip it for a second, though, a Cleveland win can almost knock Boston out of the NBA Cup.
Yeah.
That's where it's big for the Cavaliers side.
Yeah.
And then also, if you happen to bet the Cavaliers to win the Cup at a nice number, it was 11-1 when Jonathan Von Tobel wrote about that at VSiN.com. With a win tonight, you are looking good for the path anyway to make it out here in Las Vegas and play in the Final Four. That'd be a huge win going for them. Now, the total is super high, and in big games like this, I would always look at maybe, as I've gotten older, maybe look to the under and something like that. Now, you mentioned that about the pace. Neither team's in the top 5. But, again, Cavaliers leading the league, 122.1 points per 100 possessions. Celtics are number 2 at 121.4. Off made shots, Cleveland ranks 5th in pace. And because they have perimeter guys out on the defense, tonight it's going to come down to how well will the three-point shots be going in for the Celtics. Because here's the deal, right? Allen and Mobley are dynamite down low. The Celtics are going to be perimeter oriented in this game. And if they're going down, the Cavaliers are just going to go 100 miles an hour the other way.
Yeah, don't play them at the same time. Yep, absolutely. So at DraftKings, will the Cavs win 20 in a row? 4-1. First loss, obviously, same as the money line tonight. Will the first loss, when will it occur? Minus 210 tonight. If they win this game, they play New Orleans at home, Toronto, and they have a home-and-home against Atlanta. Then they play Boston at home December 1st. That Atlanta game on the road is Black Friday, and it's an 11:30 tip. Could they be out late? Could there be something there? If that's their first loss, it's 12-1. Boston, December 1st, is 12-1. Against the Wizards or after, December 3rd is 9-1.
I like the Hawks angle.
Yeah, and I certainly think it's doable. Again, if you run down the schedule, if you can beat Boston twice, Washington, Denver at home, Charlotte, Miami, Milwaukee, Philly, it all depends, who's in and who's out of the lineup. They could certainly challenge the record. But that's a great prop. Also, most wins on the season. They're plus 180, Boston's plus 190. Most wins at the All-Star break. They're minus 120, Boston's plus 265, OKC 7-1. To get the 1 seed, they're now tied with Boston. And the Knicks are 8-1. Atkinson, as I mentioned, $1.05 Coach of the Year as well. So there's so many things to look at this, but that's a great job by Johnny and the guys at DraftKings to put up when will the first loss occur. And all the options are listed here because, again, it gets juicy if they can win this one tonight.
Okay, so I played this game a couple of different ways already with player props. Garland and Mitchell are not great perimeter defenders, right? And they have other guys banged up on that side that would help them out. Then they're not going to be playing in this game, as we mentioned. So with Peyton Pritchard being questionable, I think it could be a big Derek White night here. And I bet him to score 20-plus points at plus 135. I also put some pizza money on him first basket at 10-1. But another angle that I really like is Tatum and his rebounds. It's 8.5 tonight. He averaged last year, now it was only a 5-game series against Cleveland, but he went over 8.5 rebounds in 4 of those games. He averaged 10.4 rebounds per game in the playoffs. Also in the regular season, he had 10, 11, and 13. And again, to me, I think the Celtics are going to approach this game like it's really big for them for the Cup. And to again, establish, hey, look, you guys, it's a great story, but we're still the champs and we're the best team in the Eastern Conference. I think unless it turns into a total blowout, Tatum plays a ton of minutes. And I think the 8.5 rebounds, based on who else they have down low to work with, I think 8.5 is absolutely doable for him tonight.
You want to go over White made threes?
Yeah, and
Consider how many he takes?
It's 3.5 tonight.
Okay.
I haven't done it yet because the juice is minus 140, but I think Derek White, 2.5 points in the first quarter is a strong bet.
All right.
So I'll probably add that to the resume as well, or the portfolio, I should say.
Yeah.
I'm super excited, though. This is a great game to watch tonight, and I'm a big fan of the NBA Cup. I love the courts. I love, how most players and teams approach it. It's pretty cool. I'm glad that Silver added this to the league.
Good quick pick up at Caesars, as am I. Celtics win. Tatum and Brown make 3 threes. White goes for 20 points is 6-1.
Okay.
That's available, too. And now that we're up to 6 minus 120 at some spots now, too. So
6 minus 120.
Yeah.
Continues to climb. All right, so there's also another team in their division. Good tweet here from Mike Vorkanoff. The 76ers are 2-11. They're a half game better than the worst record in the NBA. Think about this for a second, Paulie. 106 teams have started 2-11 or worse in NBA history. Only 8 have made the playoffs, and only 3 of those teams had a winning record. They are plus 320 to miss the playoffs today, best number I could find. And then after the game last night, Maxey called out Joel Embiid. He's tired of his act. Basically, they have a good relationship from reports.
Yeah.
But he's like, dude, can you stop being late to everything?
Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's updated. It's the worst record in the NBA. They're tied with Washington. Can you believe it? And this is you still get a juicy price if you want to bet to miss the playoffs, but it's at some point, as bad as the East is, you're going to look up and say you're running out of time.
I know it.
It's like the Pelicans are running out of time with all these injuries. And you're going to look and like, whoop, best thing we can do maybe here is like mid-30s for wins. What a debacle.
I totally agree with everything you just said. I know plus 320 is kind of tantalizing to me. So big NBA card. Also big night tonight in college football. We're going to kick around college football rankings for tonight's show and current odds to see if we can find a bet up next here on VSiN.
This Black Friday, get a VSiN Pro subscription for just $60 through May 1st. Our best deal of the year to help you sharpen your betting game. With VSiN Pro, you'll unlock expert picks sent to your inbox daily, unlimited access to our exclusive betting splits, and 24/7 video coverage through the VSiN Watch app. Plus, betting guides and best bets for the college football playoffs, the Super Bowl, and March Madness. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Visit VSiN.com/subscribe to sign up now and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Exciting night tonight. Just talked Cavaliers Celtics first segment. Also, the college football rankings are going to be on ESPN as well. Here's what I'm super excited about. The idea of Texas losing another game and whether or not the committee would still put him in the top 12. And by the way, all I can find right now on this team for playoff odds is a yes number. It's minus 3,000. What's their best win? At Vandy?
Yes.
In a nail-biter?
Yes.
The Michigan game? Forget it.
Forget it. It's outrageous.
Yep. So, and I think they lose at Texas A&M.
Ooh.
And if they lose at Texas A&M, where's the meat on the bone? How do you put Texas in at 10-2 with no appearance in the SEC title game? I would gladly, if a book offered, 10-1, 8-1 on a no price, I would gladly bet that right now.
You're damn right you would. And this is really heating up with 2 weeks left of the Indiana and Texas are in trouble with a loss. And it should be, and especially Texas. And I'll get to Indiana in a second. And I see your Texas argument, and I raise you. If A&M beats Texas and then A&M loses in the SEC title game, they're out too.
I don't think so.
Because this is now the discussion is, okay, fair enough. But the discussion is now, is this a negative? And could it be a detriment to make the SEC title game? You can't go back and say, well, they would never do this. We've never been in this position before.
Right.
We've never had a 12-team playoff. So everything that's happened, you throw out the window. And we'll see what they do tonight because it's very important.
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Yeah.
Don't you think the idea of that is completely idiotic? The team that makes the SEC title game with the loss, in theory here, would be 10-3. And the committee is going to say that, sorry, the loss is, what if it's 21-20 and they get beat on a field goal or whatever the score is? And they get beat,
Well,
okay,
that
close game the whole way.
Yeah.
So you're going to say that a 10-2 team that didn't make the SEC title game should be in over the team that did and lost at the gun?
My comeback is it all comes down to not who the best team is, and it's luck, scheduling, and then tiebreakers at that point. As you talked about yesterday, could be like a 5-6-way tie.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like the Indiana thing, too, and this is going to happen every year. But there was good tweets, and this is from Chris Vanini, about how conference, if this happens, the SEC can only blame themselves. Conference realignment expansion messed up the sport. Scheduling, TV windows, travel, rivalries, and so many of the things we care about and what we take into account for determining the quality of teams. Exhibit A, Indiana, who you can go 11-1, and your best win is who? Nebraska? Michigan? I mean, that's how funky this is.
Yeah.
About how it works. When you're going to put 16 teams in a conference, there's a good chance you can play the bottom half of the league, how it breaks and how it works out. And for example, Indiana, well, Michigan and Washington were in the title game. They're awful this year. And same thing where these schedules are planned in advance non-conference. You can't control what your opponent's going to be or look like year in, year out.
You know, we could have had the 12-team playoff without doing what they did to change the entire landscape of the sport.
Right. That's what it got. Pac-12 going bye-bye.
Keep the Pac-12.
Did you need Texas SEC? Did you need Oklahoma? So you did it to yourself.
Exactly what I was talking about. Now you have these former Pac-12 teams playing on the East Coast and vice versa. This makes no sense whatsoever. They never had to do that. It could have been status quo in terms of the leagues and the rivalries, by the way. And that's part of the, what made the sport so awesome. The rivalries that have been around for a century. But no, let's split that down, get rid of those as well, just so we can go. And the non-divisions, by the way, another thing that's going to bite them in the ass every single year until they fix it.
Yeah, maybe we get rid of conference title games.
They
too,
should.
Maybe. That's another.
100% they should.
If it's going to become an elimination game, that also could happen.
It won't happen because it's too much of a money grab for them.
Uh-huh.
But so, by the way, I've also read many people today so what do you do overall in the SEC tonight? A ton of people are making the case that Tennessee has to be in because of the head-to-head win over Alabama. And last week the committee had head-to-head of Ole Miss over Georgia as being an important factor because they had Ole Miss ahead of Georgia last week. So Tennessee got beat by Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
But they also beat Alabama. What, is Alabama going to be out of the rankings tonight? I bet not.
Yeah.
They're minus 1,000 to get in.
I know, but that's you do the math, and it's easy though, right? If you do 4 from the Big Ten, Notre Dame, the group of 5, 1 Big 12, 1 ACC, you can only get 4 from the SEC. Mm-hmm. So who's going to be out? And I think it might be Tennessee, although you might be right with Bama. I don't think there's enough quality wins with Tennessee, although you beat Alabama. But other than that, okay, whoop-de-doo. I expect Boise to be top 4 tonight. Absolutely.
You're not the only one.
Boise, according to ESPN, 61% chance to get a top 4 seed on a bye.
Where do you expect Colorado?
I don't know. That's a tough call. I would say in the 15-14 range. You think that's fair?
Well, it is starting, by the way.
It is?
The idea of Colorado finishing higher than Boise State. Somebody is projecting, now the rest of the season, right? To play out the final games of the regular season, then the conference title, and they put a Big 12 champ of Colorado at 11-2 at number 3, and they put Boise at number 4.
Yeah, there's
but both teams get a buy into that scenario because then Boise would be higher than the ACC champ.
ESPN says 47% chance the Big 12 earns a bye. BYU, 39% chance to make the playoff. Colorado, 36%. I think Boise has a better resume, and they also would have one loss, which was by 3 at Oregon. And then Colorado got boat raced by Nebraska, which doesn't look good, although they're playing their best football. That could hurt them as well.
What happens with BYU tonight?
They drop big time. I think they punish them for that loss to Kansas. I think they're going to really drop them big. And then that sets up BYU and Arizona State, though, that BYU could still do this, although they're going to have to win out. Same thing like Arizona State. The Indiana thing is a fascinating discussion as well, because the last 4 days I cannot believe. So it's out of control now. What this Indiana shouldn't be, and I don't care if they lose a close game to Ohio State. Here's where people need to have common sense. And I don't want to hear what Vegas thinks, and I never, ever want to get in hypotheticals, okay? You don't do this. It's a 12-team playoff. Vegas makes mistakes from time to time. I know they haven't played anybody, but Indiana is 8-2 ATS. They were 150-1 to make the playoff. Their win total was 5.5. Vegas was wrong. Everyone was wrong. Here they are 10-0, and they'll beat Purdue, so that's 11. So they might get blown out against Ohio State. But if they lose a close game, you can't come back and say, yeah, but Texas would kill them. No, you don't do it that way. That's not how you determine a champion and crown a champion.
Oh, by the way, Texas, their SOS in the Big Ten would be number 15. So you can put Texas in any conference in the country. Somebody did this with the schedule that they played this year. And we're talking, you can put them in the Sun Belt, and they would not have the number 1 highest power-rated conference in any conference in America. The highest they got was number 2. That's how bad the schedule is.
Yeah.
So if you want to play hypotheticals, stick that in their face.
That's right. And you also can't turn around and give me the eye test because you struggle with Arkansas, and it hasn't looked good. So you're a big favorite against Kentucky, but I think people are coming around it. If they go to Texas A&M and lose, it's bye-bye.
I think
and
so.
Texas is not going to get in.
Out of all these numbers I'm looking at right now, that's the number 1 that I would bet. It would be Texas on the no. By the way, if you can find it, if you see yes/no playoff odds anywhere, please. You can always email the show, ftm@vsin.com. You can hit us up on X, at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Paulie Howard. I would love to know what a Texas no price is to get in. What is this called? The US LBM coaches poll, the official rankings they're supposed to use, they have BYU 15th. And they're plus 330 to get in. They're at Arizona State this weekend, as you know, and they play Houston. Mm-hmm. They'll probably lose this weekend, and then that's all she wrote.
Mm-hmm. I thought Galloway's done a nice job, too, though, pointing out, listen, if Indiana schedule's 101 and Army's is 133, why is one team 25th and the other one's top 5? Like, it's the same bad schedule that they're playing.
Well, because
in cupcakes.
They like to look at the conference again. Yeah.
But the comeback would be, we're not having a single discussion about Indiana if the name was Michigan, Ohio State, or Penn State. And quite frankly, I don't think Penn State's good either. And they lost at home without scoring an offensive touchdown to Ohio State. And what's their best win? So that's the comeback, too. Mm-hmm. But I want to see, because there's a lot of smart people on that committee that have coached and played the game. So I want to see what they do tonight. And if they're going to just say, well, the hell with the eye test, there's nothing on your resume, I got to punish you and move you down the list.
Yeah, what do you make of Tennessee being minus 135 to make it right now? They finished with UTEP and then at Vandy.
The Vandy game's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, they could lose that game.
I'd rather take Alabama. But that's a much higher price, though.
Oh, no, I'm saying...
I wouldn't have Tennessee in it.
I would like to have the no on Tennessee as well.
Yeah.
They might be in the rankings tonight, but at the end of the year, I think there's a scenario where that team is left out. Mm-hmm. Because, again, you only have so many spots to fill, and you can't get 9 teams in from the SEC.
And there's an excellent chance that we're going to have an incredible 8-9 game, which could be Alabama at Notre Dame, and the winner gets whoever number 1 is, probably Oregon. Or maybe Ohio. It depends how it plays out.
Right.
But think about that. That's also on the line, too. If you haven't become a VSiN Pro subscriber, now's your chance to save big. Early access to the Black Friday special. Everything we do through May 1st for $60. Every best bet, every host, every guest. Greg Peterson power ratings. the betting splits from DK and Circa everyone loves, the 24/7 video access, every guide, VSiN.com/subscribe, the best offer in 7 years we've ever done here. Everything through May 1st, $60, Black Friday special. Get it now, VSiN.com/subscribe.
I would also be intrigued on a plus price on Miami not to make it. I think they can lose at Syracuse, and there's no doubt in my mind they can lose the ACC title game.
SMU is in the title game with a win. Clemson, 25% chance to make the ACC title game.
Yeah, SMU, Miami win out. They're playing for the whole thing. Yeah. Up next, NFL bettor, handicapper Adam Chernoff joins the program. We'll get his best bets. Early look here at the numbers for Week 12 in the NFL coming up on VSiN.
Betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
NFL time. Welcome back. It is Follow the Money. We're live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Adam Chernoff joins the program now, NFL bettor and handicapper. He's with Right Angle Sports. His podcast is called The Simple Handicap, and he's on the Progressive Guest Line. Adam, good afternoon. Thanks for the time. How are you?
Good afternoon. Doing as well as I can. Bit of an accident over the weekend, but we're good to go.
I heard the pod. You okay? Everything's all right?
I'm doing well. One leg still good. One leg not so good. So we're moving at a very slow pace for the next couple of weeks.
Now, not like a car accident, but like a freak accident at the gym?
Yeah, getting old. The body's breaking down a little bit and got pushed a little bit too hard by the trainers. So it's a pretty bad foot injury, but it's not impacting being able to sit at the desk and watch football.
Okay. Well, keep your chin up, pal. Thanks for popping on. We appreciate that and hope the recovery process goes speedy for you. Let's begin with a game that you like coming up this weekend in the NFL and tie it into what took place last night. And I was asking the question yesterday against some of these really bad teams, are the point spreads maybe a little bit too low? And they only play the game once. They don't play them 10 times or 100 times. And for last night's game, it was a little bit too low. And the Texans took care of business against a really bad Cowboys outfit right now. So let's spin that forward to this week coming up. Cowboys are now catching 10.5 against Washington. Extended rest here for the Commanders. What do you make of that point spread?
Speaking of accidents and injuries, the Cowboys lose 3 offensive linemen in the game last night who are going to be hard-pressed to be back on a short week of rest. And so that continues to just make this team look like they're in a Jaguars-esque downturn at this point in the season. I mean, the season's done. You have Cooper Rush, who does not look like the Cooper Rush of old. The offense cannot get going. And now you're taking away O-line guys from a team that can't run the football as is. That's a big problem. And on the other side, as you mentioned, Washington with extra time to rest and prepare. That's very important in this matchup because what was kind of let slip after the game against Philadelphia and in the early portion of this week is that Jaden Daniels has been playing at less than 100%. And this week it was said that he is going to have a full week of prep and practice. And so that's something back to that rib injury. It's maybe been kept a little bit quieter than it perhaps should have by the Commanders. And so if it's a healthy Daniels and Commanders offense against the banged up and downturning Cowboys team on both sides of the football, certainly think the Commanders can run away with the score here a little bit. So give me Washington -10 in this game.
Okay, state the case here for an ugly dog. Tommy Cutlet's back. Cowboys play the Giants on Thanksgiving. Giants taking on Tampa off the bye. Evans is supposed to be back. Giants +5.5. Forget about it.
Well, we're on the theme of accidents and possible accidents that might happen. And so taking the Giants here +5.5 as I have might be a pretty painful one to stomach once we get to Sunday. But look, guys, here's what I'm looking at this game. The adjustment once the news came out, and I was blindsided that it wasn't Drew Lock and they went to Tommy DeVito as the starting quarterback. The adjustment was about 2 points. I get that DeVito looked horrendous last year in the few starts that he was given. You know who else has looked horrendous all season? Is Daniel Jones. And I look at this game with the adjustment down, and I feel like it's for the first time this season where a lot of QB changes have been priced pretty close to accurate. This one feels like the first discount we have been given on a backup quarterback. So getting 5.5 here against the Bucs team that has a couple issues on their own. The one strength of the Giants has been their defensive line all season. And the Buccaneers pre-bye lost their best offensive lineman, Tristan Wirfs. And that's going to change what they can do up front and some of the personnel groupings they are operating out of. And so if that D-line for the Giants can get pressure like I think they will, that's where Baker Mayfield has really struggled all season long. And to me, the Buccaneers on the road, as bad as the Giants have been, covering by margin in a spot like this, a big role change and a big step up, I'm just not buying into it. And so I'll take the Giants here on price +5.5 for me.
All right, the Lions are the best team in football by several different measures, right? And they are also 8-2 ATS, covering on average by more than 10 points per game. Just, spanked Jacksonville, and Jared Goff said they could have done whatever they wanted on offense in the game, and I totally believe them. So now here you go, going on the road to take on a Colts team that looked pretty good with Anthony Richardson back last week, but the Lions are laying 7.5 in this spot. Is that too big of a number?
I believe it is. I like the Colts at home here +7.5. I think the Lions defensively a little bit overrated just because of who they faced the last few weeks. As you mentioned, they got the Jags team that was clearly in a quit scenario. They got a Titans team with Mason Rudolph that still managed to put up 400 yards, benefited as well earlier in the season from some injuries on the opposing offensive side. This team is now obviously without Aiden Hutchinson and have been for a couple of weeks. But a big loss that they suffered last week was the loss of Alex Anzalone. And they're already banged up at the linebacker position with two other guys on the injury report, too. So there's a chance here that the Lions really limited in the middle of the field on defense. And I look at what the Colts did last week. Wasn't super explosive against the Jets, but the return of Anthony Richardson with Jonathan Taylor in the backfield gives this team the opportunity to really stress opposing defenses at the linebacker position. And so now that this number's above a touchdown here and the Lions are playing relatively decent competition, unlike two of the last three games that they have played with a team that's still actively trying and competing in the postseason playoff picture, I think the Colts, as a running dog at home, stressing that linebacker position, are going to do enough on offense. And defensively, the Colts have been trending up a little bit the last few weeks, too. So 7.5 here for me. Could be tough going against the best team in football at the moment, but I think the number's too big. So I'll take the points here with the Colts at home.
May continues to get better every week. You will have to overcome conservative coaching and play calling once they get in the red zone, as what New England and Mayo has done every game, and it happened again Sunday. How about the Patriots catching 7 against Miami?
Yeah, I like the Patriots again as a underdog here, getting 7 points in this matchup. I look at what May has been doing, like you said. The offense is opening up. They're having a lot of success throwing. He was allowed to throw it 40 times last week. And this Dolphins defense looks a lot better than it actually is. And I think this is a spot where the Pats are going to be able to do enough to move the football. I certainly think the Dolphins step up and move the football as well on offense, but concerns a little bit with Tyreek Hill and the wrist injury, which is reported to be getting progressively worse week by week. And also the Pats last week, they get Barmore back on the defensive line. He didn't have a full week of prep, but he's going to be great against the run and really help out with that defense, which is exactly where the Dolphins in the first matchup with Huntley really relied on Ingold and their running backs to end up beating the Pats in a game that was quite competitive. And so if Barmore helps out this D-line, and there's Christian Gonzalez who matched up and erased Tyreek Hill from a game last year when he was healthy, can limit what he can do offensively, I think that bodes well for the Pats, and getting this many points against a weaker defense, I think sets up really well for what they're doing offensively. So the Pats here for me, +7. And then, guys, I also like the over in this game, over 46 points, as I think these Pats totals are being priced a little bit too short for what they are.
No, I'm with you. By the way, looks damn good, right? Since he was inserted as a starting quarterback overall, I think the Patriots got that pick right. And as I've been saying for a couple of weeks now, some hope there with that guy at quarterback. Okay, so can the Packers effectively, it's not going to be official, but could they effectively end the season for the 49ers this weekend?
I believe so. I like them here -2.5 at home. A lot of things going on in this game. First of all, Brock Purdy is hurt. He has a throwing shoulder injury. He's listed day-to-day was the official announcement. That, to me, is Shanahan working a bit of gamesmanship. So you have Purdy at less than 100%. You have Trent Williams at less than 100%. You have George Kittle at less than 100%. Both of those guys expected to play. Nick Bosa, very unlikely to play, in my opinion, based on how he tried to get through with the injury that hampered him 2 weeks ago against the Seahawks. He left in the second half of the game, and the Seahawks were able to open things up on offense. And then I start to wonder what's going on with Fred Warner. Last 30 pass attempts that have targeted Fred Warner in coverage, he's given up 30 receptions. I thought that was a joke when I read it this morning. It's 100% true. And so not only are the Niners banged up on offense, potentially with Purdy far less than 100%, but defensively starting to really show signs of struggle and matched up against the Packers, who I really haven't seen have their big breakout game yet. This, to me, in a revenge spot from last year, sets up really well for the Green Bay Packers at home. And then there's also kind of the hidden advantage that maybe isn't being discussed enough. There's obviously a ton of familiarity between these two coaches. They know each other so well. These two teams know each other very well. But a few weeks ago, the Packers added former defensive coordinator of the Niners, Robert Saleh, to the staff, who's been helping on the offensive side of the football. And so in a game where there's so much familiarity. Having him on the staff, I actually think is going to be a neat little advantage for them from a game planning perspective. And so to me here, a lot of advantages for the Packers at home, laying 2.5. It's a side I'd like this week.
Very good. You can follow Adam on X. He's at Adam Chernoff. His podcast is great. It's called The Simple Handicap, and he's with Right Angle Sports. I hope the foot and the ankle, I hope it gets better very soon, my friend. Thanks so much for the time today. Best of luck this week.
Thanks very much, guys. Enjoy the games this week.
There you go. And he was on the Progressive guest line. Paulie's going to recap the betting action from last night up next in Win Some, Lose Some. And I have our answer on a Texas no price to miss the playoffs. It is all over the board. I'll give you those numbers coming up here on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Got a good thing coming, so wait and see. It's a good.
You spoke, we listened. Introducing the all-new VSiN Watch app. Now, you can watch and listen to VSiN expert analysis live wherever you are. Missed a show? No problem. Catch replays of VSiN's full lineup at any time. View highlights sorted by sport. Or use the search feature to find specific teams and topics you're looking for. And the best part? It's free for a limited time. Download the VSiN Watch app today. Available now on the App Store and Google Play. And join us on the Sports Betting Network. last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Texans get it done. Monday Night Football. First touchdown. Mixon here at circa plus 295. Mixon 3 touchdowns, 10-1. Texans now 10-1 ATS in the first half. And we had this breaking news while we were live on the air with the pregame at Hard Rock, $1 million bet. Texans first half alt number plus 4.5 minus 850, $1 million to win 111,000. That gets there as well. Turned out to be a sweat though in terms of laying the 3.5 or 4 in the first half. Texans to win by 21 plus here at circa 4-1. Defensive touchdown plus 260. Why is the fat man running with the ball? Who are you kidding? You think you're Walter Payton? Go down. What are you doing?
Well, I thought
the double fumble.
I thought Barnett looked pretty good running in though.
Yeah,
and by the way, did you notice when he was going to spike the ball, he was threatening? There was like a cameraman who was scared to death, and he was like, ah! And he ran like 20 yards out of the way. Don't throw it at my head.
Yeah. Stroud, no touchdown passes, plus 420. And did anyone ladder Cooper Rush? His prop was 170. At DK, 300 yards was 6-1. He threw for 345. One note in hockey, Anaheim plus 380. Beat Dallas. Look at that. Wow. One of the biggest dogs I've ever seen cash in the NHL. Mm-hmm. Also breaking news, the Bruins fired General Jim Montgomery. That was fast. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos. We'll put this up later at Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. This is pay the toll, right? Here's the token. To pass through the river and the bridge, you got to feed the hippo. And you're coming in. Look, what kind of a setup is this, right? Well, you got like the bridge, but it's full of water, and then you got the hippos hanging over. It's like it's okay to pass, but how about a little appetizer? How about a tweet? A little treat, right? A little lettuce, whatever you got. What, cabbage? What? Look at this. Car after car after car feeding the hippo. What a world. What a life. It's like they're winners. They're big winners every day. They get fed. It's a buffet line, nonstop. Here it comes. Open up. Incredible video.
Safe to say I've never seen this before.
Yeah, right.
I mean, where the hell is this? Mississippi?
Yeah.
Like, what part of the world is this in?
Yeah.
And is the road always underwater like that a little bit?
Yeah.
That's what I'm curious about.
And they could just come right up. I mean, what's stopping them from jumping over and saying, I'm going to break your car?
Well, right? Clearly you got to have some produce with you. And if you don't,
there's an agreement, right?
Bye.
There's an agreement. I've never seen this one before either. I always take my boy Jordan to doggy daycare. Here's doggy daycare, but they're all lined up. Their favorite daycare attendant is going home for the day. That's her shot with her sister. She's in the front seat. There she is. I just got off work. They miss me. Where you going? They're all gathered around the fence saying, don't leave, please. We love you. And that's the end of her shift at doggy daycare. Here they are. Like, come on back. Come on. We miss you already.
That's got to be a damn good feeling every day.
Oh, man. Look at her.
Give her a raise. Come on.
Absolutely. Good for her. No doubt. Plenty of lose some. Bucks Rockets over. 218 up to 225.5. Not even close. 101 to 100. Warriors and over. Clippers got them. Warriors from 2 up to 5 and the total 222.5 up to 226. 102.99.
You see what happened to the Dubs in that game? They were all talking about it after the fact. They were 9 of 19 from the free throw line. Come on, guys. Clean that up.
The wall.
I'm sure it had a big deal, a big part of it, yeah.
Really? Not bad. Dallas 355 up to 450. Got beat by Anaheim. Bad for the books. Magic and over. From +2 to -4.5 and 206.5 up to 211.5. It fell 208 and they covered against Phoenix. Bulls Pistons over. 232 up to 235. Fell 234. Sixers Heat under. No Embiid. I was sick. 219.5 down to 211.5. Buried 106.89. College Hoops Pitt 29.5 up to 35.5. 93.48. Pacific Arkansas over 145.5 up to 149. 91.72 and one bad beat. Total made field goals over 3.5 plus money. And Aubrey over 1.5 made field goals. He slips on the short one, and then he right down the middle from 64. But penalty, Big Mike takes the points off the board. They go on, they don't score. And that doesn't count, obviously, because you take the 64-yarder off the board. Come on. Of all things, the guy's money, he slips on the short one. If you ever get red hot betting and think your picks are worth money, Juice Reel, changing the way sports bettors buy and sell betting advice. You and everyone else links their accounts into Juice Reel. All your history loads into the free app. Everyone's bets imported straight from the books. You're as good as your betting data says you are. Get paid real money when other people unlock your picks. Fully transparent betting advice from real people only on Juice Reel. REEL. Get it, grab it, download it now. Juice Reel.
Okay, thank you to all of to every person watching or listening to the show who responded with your bet slips or, at least some screen grabs of Texas on the no price for the college football playoff. I'm seeing as low as plus 680. I see plus 950 out there as well, and I see 11-1.
You must take 11-1. I mean, you think they're going to lose at A&M. If they lose at A&M, you're right, there's no meat on the bone. You can't make the playoff with 2 losses in that wild SEC when your best wins Vandy.
Here's a tweet that we got from Brett. Does winning count at all with no ugly losses or just wins? Texas beat Arkansas, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky. Ole Miss lost to Kentucky at home. Tennessee lost at Arkansas. Bama lost at Vandy. Texas won those games. How is Texas out if they lose a close one to A&M? There's only 12 spots.
Yeah, and Georgia. That's the Georgia comeback. Ole Miss embarrassed Georgia.
Absolutely.
Georgia embarrassed Texas on the road.
You're not putting, with another loss, if both teams finish 10-2, how on earth do you put Texas ahead of Ole Miss? You cannot do it.
No, you're right. And I watched that Arkansas game. They were not impressive.
Oh, no, they were not at all.
They haven't been impressive. So if your comeback is, listen, you played one good team and got your ass kicked at home, that's it. And you had to hang on for dear life to beat Vandy.
Oklahoma might win, what are they, 5-5 with 2 games left?
Come on, they're terrible.
They might go 5-7. Yeah. They're awful.
You can't give me that.
No, not at all. So I'm sorry, you might be a Texas fan, but you have to face reality at some point. I think 11-1 is attractive. That's a
yes.
Yeah.
Because this started last week and it's getting good.
There is a legal
that Texas is definitely in trouble and could be out with a loss. And the fact that, what if you're a 2-loss team and you make the SEC title game and lose, and if it becomes a negative and a detriment to make it there as well.
Right.
You were going to say?
That's an offshore book, 11-1. There is a legal sports book that's offering plus 950. I would take that as well. I think the plus 680 is a little bit too short. Especially when they're, minus 3,000 to get in. That straddle's insane, so.
Well, right. Is Alabama too high at minus 650?
No, because I think they win out and then probably go to the SEC title game.
They do have a great resume. Alabama,
they have awesome wins.
And the blowout at Wisconsin looks better.
Yep.
After what happened to Oregon.
And that would be, again, so if Alabama wins out, mathematically speaking here, there's a good chance they're going to be in the SEC title game. But then who do they play? And I would tell you that that's the perfect example of a team that if they were to lose in the SEC title game and finish 10-3, there is no way you can leave them out and put a team that's 10-2, did not make the SEC title game ahead of them. Can't do it. So I think the committee, I don't know if they will do this because they're very unpredictable. I think the committee automatically, when you get the 2 teams that make the SEC title game, if they're both 10-2, I think they're both locks to get in or should be locks to get in anyway to the playoff. Otherwise, it's completely unfair.
They're also fortunate and lucky that there's been some upsets here in the last couple of weeks with the ACC and the Big 12. I mean, you're lucky you'd be getting 4 in.
Well, they're very lucky that Pooch Punt landed the way it did with the BYU and Kansas game.
Yeah. But maybe they do get 5 because maybe Ohio State puts it on Indiana. And then they punish Indiana and say, you don't have a good win, your SOS is in the hundreds, that's it. Can't do it, even though you're Big Ten.
I mean, yeah.
But again, as I said, though, the Big Ten's running a Ponzi scheme. They have after the top 4 teams, the league's atrocious. And then it's just how it works, where most of them wound up on Indiana's schedule.
All right. So if we're going to say what we did about Texas, then we have to say the same thing about Indiana.
Yeah.
If they get pounded by Ohio State.
They're in trouble, no question.
No, they absolutely are.
Yeah. Hang in the game.
But keep it close. I think that would matter.
Yeah. But, as Indiana fans are pointing out, we've proven people wrong all year. And we were a huge price just to make the playoff. And the win total was 5.5. And we're 8-2 ATS. So the Nebraska win looks great now.
Well,
they beat Colorado. Nebraska hung in there at Ohio State. Indiana beat them by 50?
Yeah.
So
put it this way. We do not have a great team this year in college football.
Oh, no, it's wide open. Absolutely.
Yeah. Not even close to a great team.
Yeah.
There was no all-timer here at all.
We had a great Georgia team last year, but They lost to a good Alabama team by a field goal, and that was, okay, sorry, you're out. We had an undefeated Florida State team. I mean, couldn't even make it.
Nope. Quarterback goes down. Sorry, guys. That's too bad.
I thought it was a ridiculous and atrocious decision because the backup was coming back if they made the playoff.
All right, up next, professional sports bettor Paul Stone's going to join the program. We'll get his thoughts on that. If Texas, were to lose at Texas A&M, what would happen in his opinion then, and also get his best bets for the week. He's actually on the side in the Texas-Kentucky game. Find out who he likes coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This Black Friday, get a VSiN Pro subscription for just $60 through May 1st. Our best deal